Safety 101. This is Arsalan. Let's talk about contamination today. This is the third topic in the whole series of basic food safety. In the previous two videos, we have discussed about introduction to food safety and hazards. The link of those videos and the full playlist is attached in the description. Let's get into this one, and we will talk about contamination and different types of contamination today. I suggest that you have a look at the previous two videos first, then come to the contamination, because they are all in a series. The first one talks about in details the introduction to food safety in food industry, and the second one talks about the hazards. There are three major types of hazards with regards to methods. The one is contamination, second is multiplication, and the third is survival. And with regards to the agents, there are four agents which are hazardous: microbiological, physical, chemical, and allergens. All of these is discussed in the previous videos. Today we will focus on contamination and types of contamination. There are four major types of contaminations, or you can say that there are four agents which can cause contamination: microbiological, physical, chemical, and allergens. In this video, we will focus on three of these, which are the physical, chemical, and allergens. All these three types of contaminations are dead material, and we will talk about them today. For microorganisms, we will make a separate video which will cover all three types of microbiological hazards in one video, namely microbiological contamination, multiplication, and survival. So let's get into the basics of contamination, and this is kind of a repeat introduction of contamination as we already discussed the hazards in the previous video. Just to refresh the memory, contamination is anything objectionable in food. And I gave this example before also. If I order black coffee and somebody by mistake puts milk in my coffee, this milk is contamination. Now it could be that I today don't want milk, so it is an objectionable thing for me, or I could be allergic to milk, which is an allergenic contamination in this case. In both the scenarios, contamination is anything objectionable in food. Another way of looking at contamination is presence or entry of a hazard. So there are four hazards which we already have briefly touched: microbiological, physical, and chemical, and allergens. If you buy something from a supermarket, let's suppose a bottle of water, and before opening you can already see something inside the water, maybe a physical particle. So it is a contamination already present in the food. And in the other scenario, once you open the water and then something falls inside it, that's the entry of contamination, and in both these cases you will define it as contamination. Of course, the controls of each of them will be different. Physical contamination happens when a foreign object or foreign body enters the food. Of course, these things are not living, so it will happen with a mistake or an error from the environment or from people. Let's suppose a stapler pin in the food. When a stapler pin is there in the food, it is a sharp metal object, and if somebody eats that food item, it can cut the mouth from inside and cause injury to the consumer. And similarly, let's suppose a hard metal particle or a stone in the food can break the teeth of a person. All these metal objects or stone or any other foreign body can cause severe injury to the consumer. That's why this is a hazard. For all the contaminations, we will talk about their sources first. A source is something which brings the contamination into the food area. Let's suppose a room is there which is closed, it doesn't have any contamination. Anything which brings contamination in that room, that's a source. Or you can say it's the entry point of the contamination. In regards to physical contamination, the sources are there on your screen, and you can have a look at these. They are pebbles, stalks, leaves, wood, glass pieces. One of the most dangerous contamination because glasses are transparent sometimes. Metal fragments, insects, and even rodents. Now you will ask, insects and rodents are living things, so why are we classifying them in the physical contamination category. When a living thing dies, it becomes physical. Look at these pictures, which shows some nature of physical contamination. A dead lizard in the tomato ketchup or tomato paste, a dead mouse in the loaf of bread, then metal shavings from a can. All these are examples of physical contamination. So one of the source of physical contamination is raw material, as I just mentioned it, and the control for raw materials is by making sure that the raw material which you are getting is from approved suppliers. So approved supplier program, then auditing of the suppliers, and making sure at the time of receiving that the raw material is checked properly. So checking of the stock at the time of receiving. These are some of the controls of controlling physical contamination from raw materials. The second source of physical contamination is packaging material. In food establishments, when we receive food, it comes in a packaging material. It could be cartons or it could be any other packaging source like plastic as well. And if these packaging material are not handled properly, they can end up inside the food as physical contamination. One of the very common things which we see are stapler pins of cartons. Now cartons are made up of paper and cardboard, and they can get damaged easily, and if they are being used stapler pins inside the carton, they can go inside the food easily as well and cause physical contamination. So with regards to packaging material, these are some of the examples. Stapler pins, as I said, cardboards, strings from the jute bags, fibers, glass bottles are also packaging, as you know, and others. So you can see in these pictures, packaging material can end up in the food as well. The control for packaging material is proper specification of packaging material, to be very careful during deboxing of the packaging material, especially if you are working in a big area and you have a lot of items coming in. There should be a designated place where the deboxing is happening, and also the waste disposal of that packaging should be very carefully done, otherwise the contamination will spread. The third source for physical contamination are people and visitors. People have a lot of types of physical contamination sources along with them. Hair of food handlers, the pen tops, buttons, and other things. So if people are not controlled properly, or there is no control over the physical contamination created by people, then it will be ending up in the food. A lot of time when we eat food in many good restaurants also, sometimes we have hair contamination in the food. So that's a physical contamination example. How to control them? The biggest control is to have good hygiene practices, making sure we have policies for visitors and proper uniform and jewelry policy as well. The fourth one are the pests. As I said in the start of this topic, that pests, when they die, they become physical contamination. You might have seen a lot of times these things happening, that small insects are there in the food and they are physical contamination. Especially if you are eating a salad and there are a lot of time cases that a dead fly can be there or a worm can be there. Now these are natural flora sometimes, especially the worms in the lettuce and in the cabbage, but when they end up in the plate, it's a physical contamination. So the control for pests are very simple. Have proper integrated pest management, have a reputable pest contractor, and do proper pest proofing for the food area. So do not allow entry of the pest and ensure that the food is covered at all times. These things will help you to control physical contaminations from pests. Last but not the least, one of the biggest source of physical contamination is the structure or the building. The notices, the cleaning tools, whatever we use in the food area, they can all end up in the food as physical contamination. Think about a damaged knife. So a piece of knife breaks and goes inside the food. It's a physical contamination. Normally knife is a tool. In this case, it acts as a source of physical contamination. Notice boards. The thumb pins which we put in the notice board are a very big hazard and they can end up in the food if they are not controlled properly. That's why nowadays in a lot of places magnetic notice boards are being used. One more common thing is the metal wool. A lot of places for cleaning they use metal wool, and these metal wools, when with the passage of time, they become soft and damaged, and they can end up as metal fragments in the food. So the control for such things are: be very careful with maintenance and cleaning activities. Do not clean or do maintenance when the food is being produced. Cover the food, remove the food away at the time of maintenance and cleaning activities. Have proper glass policy, wood policy. These are the key factors to control the environment and make sure physical contamination does not happen. So as a food handler, if you look at all these sources and their controls individually and compile them all together, you get a full regime of actions which should be done to control physical contamination in a food area. Hi guys, so I just wanted to interrupt this video in the middle. During editing I realized that it has become a very long video, so I decided to stop it at the end of physical contamination. In the next part of the contamination, you will see chemical and allergenic hazards and their controls. If you like this video till now, subscribe to the channel, like the video and press the bell icon, so as soon as the next part hits YouTube waves, you can see that. Thank you.